Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Oh, welcome to Wednesday. We are in the waning days of August, which means we are almost done with the blast furnace that is the summertime. Can't complain. Hasn't been too harsh. And be honest with you, the much ballyhooed rain that was supposed to come this week didn't really do much, which is fine with me. Didn't get a chance to test out my roofs and ceilings to see if they were going to remain held up, but that's fine. Did my draft today, my fantasy football draft today. So I'm going to do another one. I want to be at least 2 fantasy football leagues because some of these games suck and I don't bet money on them. So I need a reason to watch them if I'm going to do that. Toxic Avenger is coming out this week. I am right now doing my best to line up as many trauma type guests as possible for this Saturday's show. Forgot some people. I don't want to name who I have because if it falls through, it's going to suck. But I am going to this Saturday's show is going to be dedicated to a lot of trauma. So that'll be the anchor topic. And yes, I will be going to see. I will be going to see the Toxic Avenger. I will be going to see it Saturday afternoon, as a matter of fact, or Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon. I was going to try to see it tomorrow night, but I don't know. I still might, depending on how late the showing goes. But I'm definitely going to see it this week, and I will have the review up on the channel. And like I said, I'm going to try to have some people on that are directly related to trauma. I wanted to try to get Lloyd on, but I don't think he's even in America right now. So that's a little bit hard for him. So we'll work on it. Okie dokie. Don't know if I'm going to have a co-host tonight. He knows we're live, so but he might be asleep. I don't know. But once again, I mean, what are we missing? Some bad jokes, some kung fu derailing talk that doesn't have anything to do with anything. But hey, hello, Chuck. What's going on? Yes, I will see it either tomorrow night or I will see it Friday afternoon. Hello, Clint. I don't know. I don't know if this is. This scares me as much as it should scare you guys that there's a grown-ass man obsessed with my pants and for over a year now. Nah, I felt like it was below 100, to be honest with you. And right now, I have my AC, I have my swamp cooler on, and it didn't have to fight ambient heat today. So we're near the end. We're near the end. We're getting to like I said, my favorite time of the year is that period from September all the way to like February-ish. I mean, but really, if you compact it, September, October for me, the 2 months that if I could just freeze time for those 2 months, I would. No, I hated those movies. Sorry. All right, what happened today? Anything happened today worth talking about? I know Psycho Stu is up and talking. I mean, he's still in a hospital bed. I'm going to show this to you guys. Listen, there are some wrestlers out there that are defending what Raja Jackson did. I don't know. You guys are going to be, and some of them who I respect and watch and all these other things, but that's a tough defense. There he is right now. He's in his hospital bed, so you can clearly see he's still hospitalized, but he's up, he's smiling, he's conscious, he's, yeah, there you go. But yeah, there was, that was some bullshit, and there needs to be ramifications for what he did in that ring. That could have this. Like I said, he is fortunate to be alive, because the human head is not some steel trap. I mean, a guy that big sitting on top of your chest, punching you full blown in the head with no recoil in the back, that could seriously. You could cause skull fractures. You could cause brain bleeds. It's a lot of things. That's why they don't do it for real. And even when you see UFC guys and combat guys, they got gauntlets, they got stings on. They're not bare fisting it on the back of somebody's head. And guess what? When somebody gets on somebody and they can't defend themselves like that, the referee stops the fight. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be some fallout for that one there. So. Rational Skeptic, it's funny how Sony Marvel movies are originally set in the MCU, and then last minute Sony changed it. Sony, that's on Sony. Sony doesn't have any balls when it comes to Spider-Man. They never really, from 2000, maybe 12 on, they really didn't have any balls. And Amy Pascal, I blame those guys that manager. They had their heads so far up Marvel's, whatever, that they have conned themselves into thinking that they can't make a good Spider-Man movie anymore without Marvel, without Disney, which is bullshit. They literally have the proof right in their own workings, within their own company. There's nothing stopping Sony from using Spider-Man. They own the IP. They own the IP. The deal with Disney is for Marvel MCU, Marvel Studios they have permission to use that character, and there are conditions. None of those conditions preclude Sony from ever using the character that they own. They just don't. It's almost like they're afraid to do a Spider-Man movie because they're afraid it won't be good as Tom Holland's. I'm like, why don't you get Lord Miller on it? The two men who won you an Oscar for telling a Spider-Man story. So yeah, I hope going forward that's, and like I said, that's why I don't want to see Miles Morales in the MCU. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that. Stop cowering, assert yourself and use the people that you have to make a good movie. So yeah, I got a problem with that management. That means I'll probably like it, Clint. I don't know. I'm still catching up. I got Wolf. I finally caught up on Dexter Resurrection. And, now we're down to the last 2 episodes of that show. So yeah, they would. They should have did an Amazing Spider-Man 3, and there's nobody stopping them. They could have did if they do anything. If they did from 2021 till now, if they did anything with Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, that's money. That's printing money. And then I heard all the pundits say, well, they can't do that because Kevin Feige won't let them. Get the fuck out of here. Kevin Feige does not own the IP. Disney does not own the IP as far as motion pictures. Marvel Studios does not own the IP. All solo Spider-Man movies are Sony movies. All solo Spider-Man movies are Sony movies. Marvel may co-produce them, but they are all Sony's movies. All of them. The only time that there's a spider situation outside of Sony is when they, per their deal, they're using him in the MCU. But all solo Spider-Man movies from 2002 up till now are Sony's. All solo Spider-Man movies going forward will be Sony's because they're never going to give up that IP. So yeah, if they'd have done, if within 2 years after No Way Home, you'd have done a Spider-Man 3, or a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, that's printing money. But they don't want to do it because they're so afraid that everybody will compare it to Tom. So what? Dude, you have the GOAT. You have the legendary Tobey Maguire. He will always be the first big screen Spider-Man. And then you have Andrew Garfield. I don't know about you, but I didn't need any Avengers on that screen when Andrew Garfield turns around and pulls off that mask in No Way Home, and that crowd that I was with damn near tore the roof off. So, yeah, they really should have. I think Sony is too cheap to pay Andrew Garfield. Well, you know what? He's an Academy Award. He's a 2-time Academy Award nominated artist, so maybe. Is it a comedy-based one? Yeah, they do some ones that, yeah, I have to take a look at it. I'll know within the first 10 minutes. Yeah, the Sony hack had not happened, we wouldn't probably gotten Amazon Spider-Man 3 Amazing. Well, no, what they once they came to Amy Pascal and them about that deal, they were never, it didn't matter. You could bet that hack. They wanted to be in the light of the MCU. So they sacrificed their character, even though they still own the character. Like I said, there's nothing. People, even I heard in Campia a while back, everybody seemed to think that they can't do a solo Spider-Man movie. And I'm like, why the fuck would that be true? They own the IP. No one can tell you to do it something you own. And I don't believe there was any part of that deal that precluded them ever from doing a Spider-Man movie. They just didn't. They could have done it with Madam. They could have done it with any of these goofball ones that they did the Spider-Verse without a Spider-Man. So, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. It's malicious hacking. Hasn't affected me yet, so hopefully it stays that way. Ooh, allergies get me. There's a Tom Holland cameo in the first Venom film that was cut. Collider. No. Marvel cannot make Sony do anything. Marvel cannot make Sony do anything. And Tom Holland is in a cameo in Venom. He's in the very next movie with Venom in it. Tom Holland's Spider-Man belongs to Sony. No one can tell them where that character can appear. Now, there's agreements in place, but once again, Sony is the owner of the IP. Marvel is getting the permission. Because if this is true, Rational, then how the hell does that same Tom Holland appears in the very next Venom movie? You see what I mean? It belongs to Sony. They just got to have some balls to assert themselves. That's all. Yeah, and I don't know who's reporting. You see, they report this stuff, but no one's ever come forth with any details that says Sony can't do anything they didn't want. They just didn't want to. And even Sony came out and admitted when the whole Madam Web fiasco. Nobody's stopping them from using Spider-Man. The IP belongs to them. So what? They also made every single Spider-Man movie that's happened in the last 25 years. Nobody was bitching and moaning when Spider-Man 1 and 2 came out. Nobody was bitching and moaning when Amazing Spider-Man was a hit. Nobody was bitching and moaning when every single solo live-action Spider-Man movie that has been made has all made $700 million or more, including the ones made by Sony. So just because they made Madam Web and Kraven, that doesn't take away that they made Into the Spider-Verse, Academy Award winner, Across the Spider-Verse, Academy Award nominated, should have won, and they're about to make Beyond the Spider-Verse. Nobody was bitching and moaning when, like I said, all the other Spider-Man movies, all of them are Sony, have done well. So yeah, I don't buy the fact that they made some bad movies. MCU has made some bad movies. Are we going to throw in the towel with them too? I mean, you know. Sony made money from the movies that they did without Marvel. No live-action Spider-Man movie, whether it be Marvel Studios or Sony on their own, has made less than $700 million. Not one. The only Spider-Man solo movies that they've made that have drawn less than than 700 million were the Spider-Verse movies, which were animation, and animation usually draws far less than live action. But even those movies, to be what they were, did very well. They were hits, and one of them won an Oscar. Sony love to lose money. This isn't true either. Oh, well, no, they don't love to lose money, but they're too scared to make money. Because one of the reasons, and ironic you say that, is because Sony, with Morbius, with Madam Web, with Craven, with everything people want, they are profitable. They're one of the few profitable studios that have maintained their profitability like the last 4 or 5 years. They're not like, like in Warner Brothers that had to unbury themselves and have a good year and still be billions of dollars in debt. Sony's profitable. Sony's profitable. And like I said, I don't know if it's fear, but it's that, we do a Spider-Man, people are going to, maybe nobody will see it because it's not a part of the MCU. People will go see Andrew Garfield. People will definitely go see Tobey Maguire. I mean, if anything, No Way Home proves that. Because the reason why No Way Home nearly made almost $2 billion wasn't just because Tom Holland had nothing to do with the MCU. It's because those two other gentlemen have a following of fans that love them. And Sony needs to understand that and capitalize on that. It's been silly. Apparently the MCU version of... Okay, but here I don't see how that can be true. And this I'm just playing devil's advocate. Sony owns all of the motion picture versions of all of these characters. Even if Marvel co-produces them, that doesn't a producer is not an owner. I don't know how they could co-own any of that. They co-own it. That co-ownership would be across the board. They don't co-own Spider-Man. There's a reason why Kingpin and all this, they have to go to Sony to work out a deal to get permission to use these characters. Why? Because Sony owns them. Sony should wholly own all of these characters. Now, there may be some agreements to where because they're the co-producers, they can't. There may be an agreement there, but Sony owns them. I don't think Marvel Disney co-owns any of these things, to be honest with you. Unless there's an agreement in place that we don't know about, which is very possible. Because to be honest with you, none of us really know the exact specifics of the current deal that they're under. So, how you doing, Glimmer? Rhea, what's going on? Yep, smash the like button, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Morbius trailer showed up a poster of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but the final film we never see the poster. What was the point of that? Them getting cold feet and them wanting to use any type of Spider-Man. I don't know. Nothing that they've done with the IP that they own makes sense to me. There is money in Tobey Maguire. If Sony wanted to say, you know what, we're doing a Tobey and Andrew movie, fucking do it. There's nothing Marvel can do about that. There's nothing. How are you going to tell me to do what to do with something I own? Now you have say in Tom Holland because you're producing those movies that are connected to your universe, but Sony is a distributor. Sony is the studio. Sony owns the IP. They have allowed Marvel to write those stories because they connect to their universe. But as far as like them doing something with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they have held themselves back. They have held themselves back because there's not people kept people would be confused if you had all the three Spider-Man. Thank your fellow fans, by the way, for thinking you're fucking dummies because that's never been true. And No Way Home literally proved it because guess what? I'm a dummy and I wasn't confused. Nobody's going to be confused. Sony is their own worst enemy in that regard. They need to, let Kevin Feige do whatever he wants to with Tom Holland Spider-Man. You have an adoring public. If you were to announce a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4 tomorrow, you could probably start selling tickets before the movies you start filming. Same thing with Andrew Garfield, especially after it was probably true before No Way Home. It's definitely true after No Way Home. So now I want to see the details of the deal, but they've already stated that they could do what they want to with Spider-Man because they own the IP. So all this stuff where Marvel's telling them that they can't do this, they can't do that. It's like, wait a minute. That's like me owning a house, you renting a room, and you coming out of your room telling me what I can do with the house. Go back in your room. And on that, here's Brad. Peacemaker, that's not today, is it?
That's yeah, that is today. That's today at like 9:30 when they put.
We don't. Sadly, they don't do a midnight releasing, or that's what we would be doing right now.
So it'll be like about this time tomorrow that we'll be, or a little before we'll be watching.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping it up.
And yeah, actually, because I saw Film Junkie on his Not So Live stream, he kind of has that now, talking a bit about that, and specifically with like the last 3 episodes, and James Gunn,
oh yeah,
saying
who would you like to see?
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like I was thinking about this earlier. It's like because of course, I mean, this is definitely very much a multiverse show. And Junkie was like, okay, what if somebody from the Burton movies or the Donner movies or from the Snyder movie shows up? And he even like posited. I think we talked about it here before, like the idea of like, what if like Momoa's Lobo meets Momoa's Aquaman on the show? It's like.
That would be all of it's on the table. I stuck with my old standby.
I saw you put that of like Ezra's Flash. Well, because I mean the Flash is the most, as far as like interdimensional travel, he's the character that's easiest to facilitate that with.
Okay, and here's the thing. Remember what he did at the end of when he tried to set everything straight and fix everything? We ended up with George Clooney.
Yeah.
So basically, all he has to do is, and then George Clooney could be in this last 3 episodes. One of them. All he has to do is say, you know what? I came back in with fucking George Clooney, so I tried to keep fixing it without fixing anything that messed up my mom or messed up, being her anything. Yeah. All I tried to do is fix the little things. And every time he tried to do it, he created these new dimensions that Peacemaker now has access to, because those dimensions were not there in Peacemaker 1. Yeah. We clearly saw him go into that room and play with all of his dad's equipment and his helmets, and there were no other dimensions in there.
But I don't know. It's like, I mean, I was talking about, like, it seemed like Film Junkie was what he was saying earlier. It's like, I mean, I'm getting kind of cautiously optimistic that there might be like, some, like, stuff like on the level of like the Flash being a Flash cameo from Crisis. Be
a lot of fun if it was, but I tell everybody, temper your expectations. Yeah. That's all I say.
That's why I say cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, temper your expectations, and if it happens, we'll have some fun with it. Nothing really much noteworthy happened today.
Yeah. Well, for Aaron and I, there was.
Okay, nothing that is consistent with what this show is.
That is the losers like William don't pay attention to, but is we're gonna talk about Furious. Got its first clip put out today, and it was rad. Yeah, so this is not a drill.
Nobody cares. All right, listen, I'm not saying that this whatever you're talking about.
Getting the Toronto International Film Festival.
You guys need to get your own show going. Get an audience that gives a shit about this.
How about we make that our premiere, Aaron? Like the Furious.
There you go. Because, like I said, you should have it dedicated, whatever, to talk about that.
And see, the thing about it was because they haven't put out a trailer for that yet, but they put out a clip from it today. It's premiering at Toronto, I think on the 4th. So we're kind of wondering, like, okay, when do we get like a full-blown release date on that? If they're putting out a clip now, even before a trailer, I mean, that says to me most likely it'll probably be like around Thanksgiving or Christmas. You're putting out a clip from it. So
what dropped this morning?
Wait a minute.
Okay. It has to be because Sony's too cheap to pay Toby and Andrew their asking price. Not because they pay everybody else their asking price. So, I mean, it's not they don't skimp when it comes to those particular individuals. And I mean, what's going to be Tobey Maguire's asking price? He hasn't been in shit since like how many years?
I mean, No Way Home was the first thing I had seen him in since Great Gatsby. So that was like 8 years between.
I mean, if it's Andrew Garfield's budget, okay, big, so what? Pay him. I mean,
and that's not like a diss on. Part of it's because he moved in.
He retired.
He didn't retire, but he kind of moved into producing. So
retired from active acting for the most part.
Yeah.
If they're not going to do a midnight release or having it on Sunday, they're having it at 6 p.m. West Coast time. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of that.
Do you think the fact that he's not releasing any press screeners for the last 3 episodes, do you think maybe that kind of influenced that release decision for like that's the time it's going to each
It's
episode is going to
possible.
be
It's
because
possible.
I mean because the thing that the statement that Junkie was talking about this really, I mean Gunn said like he point blank said, I am the reason that even the press aren't going to see those last 3 episodes until I want everybody to.
Well, yeah, I mean that's his prerogative, you know. I mean,
he said that statement. He said this is the proudest he's like of anything he's done, and he just had a Superman movie come out, so this is like his proudest of any of like Guardians.
the Superman movie was okay. The Superman movie, there was confined. I mean, there was restraints of what he really can do. There are no restraints in Peacemaker. He's been given the green light to do clearly whatever the fuck he wants to. You really can't do that. Even though you're doing your own Superman movie, once again, the reason why the movie was as successful as it was because it met the basic requirements of people who knew Superman in the periphery. They didn't get into the weeds. They basically, this movie was made for anybody who basically knew what Superman, had a basic understanding of what Superman was. It wasn't made for the mythology. It wasn't made for anything like that, you know, because then you start to pare down the audience. But when you're talking about Peacemaker, there's no restraints. It's a character it's an obscure character that nobody cared about until he took over the character, filled with other characters that nobody cares about until he took over those characters. So he has freedom with these characters that
reminds me of something else that some Junkie was talking about on that is
Would you stalk the guy?
No, I just watched I just watched it a few hours ago, right before we came on. And talking about that, and he is getting a little bit more shout outs than usual. Just kind of like rapid fire night. But you mentioned apparently like Gunn and Margot Robbie have both been asked about. Were you see her as Harley Quinn? They did the kind of like the answer of, well, we're just gonna have to wait and see, aren't we? You know, kind of like.
I don't see why anybody doesn't expect her to be. I don't see why that's something that would be a question. I mean,
are you talking about on the basis of like how well Barbie did?
No, as far as her ever being in any of his movies again, as far as Harley Quinn, I don't see how that's even a question. To me, that's an automatic. It's just a matter of when, as far as I'm concerned. I think the question is kind of silly, to be honest with you.
Well, because also, and this is like goes to like one clip of him talking about like with the Justice League to Justice Gang changeover in the intro in Peacemaker, he talked about Peacemaker, and he even says like it doesn't really fit in the show. Even season 1, it meshes better with what he's doing now with DCU as opposed to DCEU because the show was done during that kind of purgatory period where it's like the studio like lost all direction when then they were just it was just we're just winging it with everything DC and so and Margot Robbie's an interesting kind of specimen out of that because her Harley Quinn was seen in both phases, like when they had the plan they were committed to and when they abandoned it. So she's kind of she's kind of got one foot in both sort of eras of that.
But she only really has to have one foot in the Suicide Squad, and even then, she doesn't have to have any foot in either one of those because, as he explained, this universe is its own thing. It can have some things that you're familiar with the other universe, but certain circumstances. So seeing her again just means that we recognize Project Starfish. That's it. That's all. That's all that. It's all really you have to do to explain her existence in this universe. And when you do an alternate universe and divergent things like this, you give yourself room to selectively pick what you want to be relevant in your universe, which is something comic book writers have been doing for about 60 years. I don't know why this is such a. Now, I was saying this before. When I said selective realignment, people looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, dude, you realize that they've been doing this in comic books since maybe paper has been used in comic books. But that tells you that a lot of these people, their education when it comes to comic book movies are strictly from comic book movies and not necessarily comic books. Every time a new writer or a new editor takes over a group of books, it happens all the time. They reference what they think is relevant for their story, and that's it. So what James Gunn is doing, and that's why he never used the word reboot. If you notice, people slip up every now and then and say something that they don't necessarily mean. I can't recall him ever using the word reboot. I think James Gunn understands what a stupid ass term that is. It's gotten to the point where even if you are doing a reboot, it's stupid to use the term because it has such a waste of time, negative connotation to it that it could hurt your reboot. So you probably should start using different words. But I noticed he's been very careful not to use that word. Everybody else has put that word in his mouth, but he hasn't used that word, and he hasn't done anything, including what he did with the Justice League thing, that would say that he's rebooted anything. He's moved on his own path. That doesn't mean he kicked the dirt over everything else, or that there's other things out there that we haven't seen that might not come into play. So, yeah, I think when it comes to the perception of James Gunn, 90% of the dumb shit has come from fans. You know, and when you have that kind of weight, they're never going to really interpret anything he says, you know, and anything relevant. They're going to interpret it into whatever they want it to be. Because, like I said, I never heard him use the term reboot. I know a lot of people who kept screaming reboot because they like to use that word as a shoe to throw at, you know, other fandoms. But just because you can say a word doesn't mean you know what it means. I know a lot of stupid ass people that can say big words. So, hell, I'm one of them sometimes. All right.
Definitely, we're talking about Kung Fu, you are.
I don't talk about Kung Fu.
Exactly.
Okay, once again, I guess, Forth, you don't understand what the term reboot means, or you don't know how it applies to what you're watching. I'm hoping that's not the case because it's clear that this isn't a reboot. He's actually gone out of his way to just do his own thing. So yeah, like I said, but reboot is, like I said, it's like the kid who comes into first grade with a fourth grade word and pronounces it, and now he's a fucking genius. Doesn't know what that word means, but because he can pronounce it, let's move him up into the next grade. You know, just because people shit the word reboot out of their throat doesn't mean they know what it means. And clearly, it does not apply here. Like I said, there are people that when they're talking about the Buffy thing, if Sarah Michelle Gellar is in the shit as Buffy, then it's not a reboot. If someone else comes in and plays Buffy, that same character, then it's a reboot.
I mean, Buffy, all I need that to be used as a giant fuck you to Joss Whedon. So that's me.
I care less about Joss Whedon.
I want a middle finger from that.
That's somewhere else. That's you taking entertainment personally from a guy you'll never meet.
That should be
anyway. But that's a reboot. If the people that were in it are part of the continuity, then that's a revival. That's very important because the internet might like to toss around that word, but the general audience, when they hear reboot, they just move on to something else. Look at the numbers when it comes to things that have been rebooted. Yeah, I saw that. I just put his picture up there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay. I should have just read your. What I should start doing with you, Forth, is read your other term that unravels whatever you said before, because this is actually more coherent. He's on his own path and left the old path. That's not a reboot, dude. Do you read this stuff before you hit enter or send? Read that out loud. He's on his own path. A reboot is starting over on an entirely new path, emulating the one that you were on. That's not a reboot. And guess what? Even if it was, we've used the word reboot to basically wipe our asses with it. So guess what? Use something else. Yeah, and I'm like, don't you want this shit to succeed? You have an entire dude. I know people that are in their 50s, approaching 60s that love Buffy, that got their kids and their little granddaughters watching that show. I know one of our Rocky Horror cast members that goes to the conventions and they're huge here, the Hellmouth, all that stuff. You got an entire Buffy universe of legions of fans. you use that. There's only one person that's really not with us anymore, and obviously that's Michelle Trachtenberg, rest in peace, and she died way too young, by the way. But yeah,
How old was she? She was like
she was
what,
41,
40,
42.
Yeah, she was pretty young. Yeah,
She was the youngest of them. And I know what Buffy is. We did Once More with Phil a bunch of times with our Rocky Horror Picture Show pass. But why would you utter the word reboot to a legion of fans that are waiting for you when you've gone through the trouble to use Sarah Michelle Gellar, the Buffy? Why would you do that? That's stupid. Revival. Use the right word. An example of a reboot would be like Miami Vice 2006, when Michael Mann took his own creation, or half of his own creation, and basically started over, different continuity, brand new continuity, no attachment to previous continuity. A-Team, most remakes, things like that, are reboots. The A-Team had some guest stars in it from the show, but their continuity was directly something on its own. So if we were going to do like even the new Star Trek, the 09 one, now that we've seen the rest of the Star Trek, that's not even a reboot because that's been proven to be an alternate universe. So yeah, a reboot is something like if you're going to take an IP, you totally recast the characters as those characters, not older versions, those characters. So give me anything. Just throw something at me so I can use an example out of thin air.
Okay, well, this is a recent one. I know you did last summer.
Aren't the original characters still in there?
Yeah, I mean that's
okay. That's not a reboot. Give me an IP. Give me something brand new that hasn't been done. Just pull something out of your ass.
Never been done. I don't know, John Wick.
Okay. So say that John Wick is a current franchise. So now we're gonna do a new John Wick. We're not using Keanu Reeves. We're not connecting it to John Wick. So it's not John Wick Jr. It's not John Wick Apprentice or anything else. We're saying this. I'm casting Brad, and Brad is gonna be the new John Wick. And we're taking that continuity and we're totally redoing that continuity and making it contemporary. We're gonna get a new, we're going to get a new, what's the hotel? The Continental. We're going to get a brand new Continental. It's totally different. We're going to modernize it. We're totally redoing that series. That's a reboot. That's probably going to fail too, but that's a reboot. Now.
Yeah, probably would.
The only time, and even James Bond doesn't do it because James Bond doesn't recognize different continuities, even though they've had different actors. The only time that they've ever really done that was with Daniel Craig. And by that time, all of those every James Bond that they've had for the most part has ran their course into their 60s. So to answer your question, that would be something of a reboot. If I were to just take Brad's John Wick now, I recast all the characters. Ian McShane's character is brand new. The first time you see him is in Brad Wick. That's what you see, right? That's a reboot.
Brad Wick. I like the sound of that.
That's a reboot, and that's probably going to be a box office bomb that ends some careers. Now, these other things, like I said, Buffy is not a reboot. Buffy is still there. It's a continuation. It's a revival. So yeah, I think reboot is just a lazy term. And it does have a lot of dead weight to it because when you say reboot to the general audience, you're saying what made me love this series is no longer relevant in this version. It's familiar, but it's not the one that I latched onto. That's why when they start remaking this shit from the 80s, I'm like, come on, man, just come up with some new ideas. Come up with some new ideas, man.
Oh, come on. You call it John Ick.
No, there is no such thing as pretty much a reboot. There is no such thing as, well, I think it's a reboot. No, it's either a reboot or it is not. That's why what James Gunn is doing, that's why he carefully has not used the term reboot. That's why there's no ambiguity. It's either a reboot or it's not.
Do you think like after we get the end of Peacemaker, because he said, this, you'll get like a pretty strong sense of like the overall kind of like blueprint or roadmap or whatever term you want to use for what he's doing.
I,
He said,
I
do you think that he might actually like assign a term himself to it, or will he'll be asked about that and he'll say,
I
here's
think
how
he's
I would.
gonna a term. I think he's gonna assign the term that should be assigned. It's gonna be Elseworlds. It's gonna be here's what I'm doing. Everything else is a possible Elseworld. Whatever you don't see anymore is a possible. I didn't destroy anything. He's doing the right thing. He's doing his own thing without resetting something else. What you saw in episode 1 is where his universe diverges and begins. Just because that diverges and goes to where we see it now doesn't mean what came before is gone. And that also allows for things that we have not seen to come about. So, but yeah, it's no, even though you listen, you may have a hard on for Josh Whedon, hate boner. That's fine. That has no relevance to the continuity of the show. You see what I mean? If Buffy is in it, if Sarah Michelle Gellar is in it as Buffy, which is as far as I know is the case, then it's not a reboot. That ends that right there. It's a revival. The difference. And like when we get these terms and we use them out of context without applying them properly, that's what makes the term so annoying, is because you're just grabbing a word out of your ass and throwing it up on the window just to be, look at me. No, not you, Antonio, but the term has been misused and it has done damage. Nah, but Buffy's not a reboot. She's in it like that. Now, okay, like Wednesday is technically a reboot.
That's absolutely a
that's
reboot.
A reboot.
It's not like connected to the 90s Addams Family movies, and
even though she's in it, she's not Wednesday. Someone else, because the entire everybody who ever played anybody is either dead or they've been replaced. So that is a reboot. That is a perfect example of a reboot. But you can't really hurt Addams Family. There's been decades in between every iteration of the Addams Family. There's really no continuity to connect to. You can't keep continuing on with Christina Ricci. I mean, that's gonna suck. Raul Julia's dead, so you can't really. I mean, you're gonna have to recast. So you may as well.
Here's another. On that note with him, the Street Fighter movie is in the works. That's definitely a reboot.
Now you're trolling. That's fine.
That's definitely, because I mean, it's not going to be his M. Bison, and that's a high bar to meet. Just saying, but it's not his M. Bison.
Yeah, to me, a revival is a complete return or a partial return. Once again, just because Giles, I don't need to see anybody else in this new Buffy revival. If she's in it, that is the baseline of the fact that we're still in the same universe where that wild ass last two episodes that they had of that show is still in existence. And that's what I think he's been very, very careful with the term reboot. I think James Gunn is smart enough to understand what that term means and when you should use it and when you shouldn't use it. Here we go. Brad Jeff, like Josh Whedon, like Victor Salva or Brian Singer type of design, and more of a jerk and real person. Well, I've never met any of these people in real life, to be honest with you. The stuff that Josh Whedon did that I enjoyed, I still enjoy.
I'm not saying like you can't, but I mean,
yeah.
Like when he asks, I mean, like when one thing, like, when he what was her name? Who was Kristen Carpenter? When she got pregnant, just, you're gonna keep that baby for yeah.
I mean, there's just so many. Once again, we start pulling over the sheets of some of these people, you're not gonna like what you see. But as far as I'm concerned, on a professional basis, if I had a studio, I wouldn't touch them right now, because there's just the same thing with the whole Carano incident. Once you show me that you're a problem, and there are other options, I'm just going to go with those.
But he showed people he's a problem for 30 years, and it just took that long for it to come out.
Yeah, but see, that's showing you. Once it comes out, it's out now. I mean, not everybody knew what was going on because nobody talked. Nobody wanted to lose their job. Nobody wanted to get blacklisted. So what happened in the interim doesn't have anything to do with me as a studio head today. Now that I know that in present time, I'm going to be like, dude, There's other directors out there. There's other show writers, runners out there. Why am I going to deal with you?
He's gonna get residuals from the new Buffy.
Yeah, he's not hurting for money.
He could retire tomorrow and live.
He gets residuals from
very comfortably.
The mini channels that still show the repeats of Buffy. Every time they show, he gets a check.
Avengers. That by itself, Avengers.
He gets money from Avengers. He gets money from it being on the streaming service. He's fine. But once again,
set for life. Yeah.
If you show me that you're going to be a problem, you're going to be a distraction, that's the first clue to me not hiring you. All right. Now there are levels to the distraction, misdemeanors and crazy shit. Doing some stuff, getting drunk at a party. Stuff like that, low level. But when statements are a big deal. When you say stupid shit while you're under my employ, and that becomes the story, or you do something. Stupid.
Well,
that's the story.
That's why I kind of always, when we're talking about like people like making comebacks from, cancellation or whatever term we want to use for it. Like the one I always kind of go to is kind of like you setting the bar for it, for lack of a better term, is Mel Gibson, because he's back at it. He's been back at it for a while, but he had a period there where kind of went south. And
all right, so now I know you're trolling me because this doesn't make any sense, but I'll read it anyway because what the fuck. New characters that he mostly bought over from another universe, same actors playing those characters. And I don't know who Gum is, but I think fourth. I know that you're trolling now. I know that you understand what the difference is between me, but so go ahead.
Well, I don't think he's trolling. Oh, let me go back to Aaron's real quick. That's so crazy how like she's got. You look up the history of Buffy, like Dolly Parton had. She was never like on the show. She wasn't like technically a producer, but she kind of was in this sort of the road to it happening. So yeah, she gets a pretty penny from it herself. Yeah. Oh, I thought this. Sorry, I misread this. He said guns.
Why do you bring his shit up, dude? Once we have identified the troll, we don't know how.
I totally misread that. I thought he said Gun and Zach.
Read it before you click on it to bring up on the screen. You can read it on the side.
There's no possible way you're not trolling that with that.
I told you he was trolling. What up? Went to Cat Cafe today, and we're seeing talking with Benjamin, my partner's birthday tonight. Oh, you're seeing it tonight? That's right. You're in Australia. I'm gonna try to go see it tonight, but I've made it to where I can go to the movies on Friday a lot easier than I used to be able to do it because of I got somebody to watch the store at the time. So I'm probably gonna go see like an early showing of Talking Avengers because, like I said, this Saturday show, we're gonna be doing a lot of trauma in general. My plan right now, and I'll go ahead and knock on wood, is the guy who runs all the digital media and online presence for Trauma is a guy who I've worked with before. He's going to be with us. I am trying to get the guy who currently writes the Toxic Avenger comic, who I met at Comic-Con, to come on the show. And there's a couple more people that we might be able to get on there. But we're going to be talking a lot of Trauma, a lot of Toxic Avenger with those people that provided the but yeah, I would definitely easy. No, there is no. Yeah, Aaron. Okay. Yeah, I've heard this term. It's either a reboot or it's not.
And when you talk about soft reboot, like, because usually when people use that, I think that's more kind of refers to like things like tone. Where you go from like a dark tone to a light tone or vice versa. I think that's soft reboot implies it's not a continuity reboot, but it kind of like it feels like it's kind of like undergone like some kind of evolution from the last that's noticeable. Like a good example with that we've done watch parties here is the Skyline franchise. I
didn't know. No offense, I didn't know what the fuck that was prior to what it was before. So a reboot wouldn't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't know the difference.
But it's having seen all of them, like the first one. When that there was like a 7-year gap for the first one and the second one, and Beyond Skyline really kind of set the
is there a continuity break?
There's not.
Then it's not a reboot.
But 2 or Beyond Skyline 2 that again, that's why I say I still feel like that term, and I've heard other people use that in reference to that.
It's a bad term.
franchise,
I've heard it used too.
but
It's a bad term
because it's like that really sort of that takes what's established in the first one, but it also it acts as kind of a reinvention. And that the second one is it's a case where the second installment really kind of it sort of set the template for what the franchise would be, even though it's not really cutting ties with what came before. So when you talk about something like soft reboot, it's like I think again that's I think about things like tone, or I think about like what's another good example? Like
there's no good example.
It gets used for.
It's called a course adjustment. That's what it is. You've adjusted course. If you did not change the continuity, it's not a reboot. There's no such thing as a soft reboot. It's either a reboot or it's not. There's no such thing as a soft reboot. There's a term that people use called soft reboot, but there's a whole bunch of terms out there that really don't apply. Or reboot by the nature of the word, it's not soft. It is what it is. There's no soft reboot. You don't partially jump out of the plane. You jump out of the plane. You see what I mean? It is a term that collapses upon itself. There's no such thing as a soft reboot. You can have something that is mistakenly described as but that's not, because if it's a reboot, it's a reboot. See what I mean? It's not like a slap in the head where I can like let up on you. No, it's a non-existent term that people have grappled onto. The internet.
Well, I mean, if it's non-existent, we would. I mean, it clearly exists because we're able to say it out loud.
Okay, but let's see. There's a lot of terms in the human vernacular that are bullshit and don't apply to anything. Just because we say some shit doesn't mean it means shit. See what I mean? That's literally what grammar and English are. We've lost that because it's trendy to say shit. But if you say the word out loud and understand what a reboot is, there are no levels to it. It either is or it is not. You see what I mean? There's not, if you understand what you're actually saying, then you know that there's no such thing. I can say jockalopes. Does that mean it exists? No, it's fucking fantasy. So there you go. The hell? Why am I bringing up your shit? Hunter Iggy, question. William and Brad. James Gunn says in an interview with Big Sean that he. Okay, let me read this game. Question, William Brad. James Gunn says in an interview with Big Sean that he's still figured out how to introduce. Has still not figured out how to. I know they were talking about.
Yeah, the authority. That seems like that's been kind of a tough nut to crack for them. Because he's even said it sounds like the authority is like kind of on the back burner.
Yeah, even though he brought in one of the major members of that group in his movie. I agree. It's on a reboot like that. It's a reboot from his. Oh, you're talking about Josh Whedon. And that's not if the guy who's doing it says it's not. And his actions right now, he could have simplified all of this by just saying it was a reboot. He's not even. I don't believe he's used that word. And his actions don't say reboot. Especially when you're introducing, not only do they not say reboot, but he's introducing 100 fucking universes. Who the hell knows what word will come with by the time we reach what episode was it? 10 episodes? We might have a whole new word.
It's 8.
Is it 8?
It's, yeah, and again, it's the last 3 that he's really kind of said is where kind of like the multiverse shit hits the fan. So, and that's supposed to be. I'm gonna look up real quick, like the release schedule for that.
How you feel about reboot is how I feel about. Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's the thing that DC in general. If there's any word that DC, not just movies, TV, everything with a DC logo on it. If there's a word that they should run away from like a skunk with its ass aimed towards you, it's the word reboot. And that's a 38-year build to that conclusion. If you walk into a DC office and you say the word reboot, you better hope that the windows don't open from the inside. If you walk into Burbank, if you walk into DC Comics headquarters and you come in with reboot, all right, you better hope you better need to be on the ground floor,
Okay,
so that you can just walk out.
Okay, so Peacemaker, 8 episodes. The last one is going to, or the last 3 again, because that's the ones he's really holding back on. 6 through 8, that's September 25th, October 2nd, October 9th. So we'll be wrapping up October 9th.
Cool, better weather.
So that's So that's like a 2-week time frame. What?
The word recall.
Recall. Yeah. Well. What's her face? The kind of like the new Randy in the Scream movie. She kind of went into that in the last Scream, where she talked about like recall is basically it's like you're like combining like the essence of a sequel and a reboot. Oh, Aaron's got a good one here.
Hold on, you sent question. I sent you the video of the interview in your Instagram message. Me or are you, Ben?
I don't think so. It's probably you. Aaron asks, can you go see if you can find the definitions of these terms: revival, remake, reboot, soft reboot?
Okay, I don't need to. I can tell you right now.
I'll Google those. Probably I'm going to get that AI.
That one at the top where the highlight is.
Yeah, it's that's such a. I don't know whether I like that or I love that or hate that. I don't know where I stand on that yet now, but it's like I'm still kind of. I mean, it's useful to like have something to like drop in to give the cliff notes, but
while he's still doing that, I'm going to tell you, revival. Revival is resuscitation of something that has gone before with partially or entirely all the familiar elements and those people that played them. Buffy is a revival. Remake is a complete remake is almost the same as a reboot, depending on how far you're going to go with the remake. If you are doing something in a serial, so say you plan on doing a trilogy or 1, 2, 3, then a reboot is the same thing as a remake is. Simply, remakes are generally one and done. Like Miami Vice was a remake. Now, if they had said we're doing a new Miami Vice series or we're doing a trilogy of Miami Vice, that would have the reboot probably would have been a term that you were using, because you're starting some reboot. You're like your computer. You're restarting it with the intention on using it further than just one time. A remake is a one-time general thing. Reboot, and the last term doesn't exist. Reboot is a complete restart with no respect or no references other than familiarity of the original IP. Like, I'm taking Brad and doing John Wick. Now, you know what John Wick is. You know who's John Wick is, but that is not relevant to what I'm doing, because I'm not using Keanu Reeves. I'm going to tell the same type of story, but with totally new players, totally new actors, and with no respects to that continuity. So whatever happens with John Wick 10, or whatever the fuck they stop you doing it, or Ballerina 12, whatever ends there, I am not continuing that. I'm starting my own thing with those characters. That is a reboot. There is no soft reboot. There is no half reboot, because once you go half reboot, you're not doing a reboot. You're doing something else. You're doing an alignment. Selective realignment. That's actually the term that should be used, a selective realignment. But that's my definition of those words. I don't know what the Webster dictionary one is, but Brad, if you've been able to find it.
Well, this is a Webster. This is Google
Yeah,
AI.
It's the new Webster shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so I started with reboot. All right, so AI overview. In fact, I'll go ahead and pull up so everybody can see it. Pull it up right here real quick.
Way down here. Hello, Monkey Jeebus. All right, guys, let's stop talking about Joss Whedon. I don't know about. Come on.
Yeah, other than to say fuck him.
No, I don't even need to say that anymore. I don't even need to say anything as far as Buffy, because he's just going to get paid.
Yeah, I will never say no to a good Joss Whedon roast. Okay.
I will, because it's not relevant.
Yeah. Reboot has several meanings, most commonly referring to the process. Oh, okay. Well, now this isn't even like. Oh, okay, here we go. Process of restarting a computer or a new beginning for a media franchise by discarding previous continuity. Okay, that's pretty much what William was talking about. Now, let me go ahead and type in revival. Revival is a broad term with multiple meanings, generally referring to the act of restoring something to life. Well, and you see how what AI is doing. It's like it gives you more than I asked for, and it doesn't discern. This is why the whole thing about like AI is like, and I'm not a fortune teller, but I mean, if AI is like, if it's not able to like be as precise as you want it to, I think we might be okay as far as the apocalypse. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, restoring something to life, consciousness, or a state of vigor, or the reinstatement of something previously important or fashionable. Okay, so
Now look up the non-existent. We know it's a term used, but what does it tell you about soft reboot?
Oh, that's good. I'm sure it's gonna bring it up. Well, there. Okay, it tells me in technical terms, not in entertainment terms. A soft reboot is a system restart that operates within the software without a complete power cycle, allowing data to be saved. Tell me a whole bunch of shit I don't want to know. Okay. Cinematic. Okay. Here's one that this is. It's just kind of like pulling up the Wikipedia. A soft reboot. This is down here. A soft reboot is a reboot that shares some continuity of the original series, but that changes the style, tone, or the intent. It usually serves to allow writers more creative freedom, while mostly maintaining the same setting the audience has grown accustomed to.
That's literally a definition that folds within itself and crumples itself up and jumps into the garbage.
And
that's really what that term is.
Aaron also asked me to look up remakes, so I'll pull that too.
Well,
now it's got the easy.
Daredevil's not a soft reboot, really.
Make something again or differently, a movie or piece of music that has been filmed or recorded again or re-release. Again, this Google AI is just so it's like it's helpful, but it's also very comedic because it's like I put in reboot and it tells me, well, first they're going to tell you it means in terms like in computer terms. Then we're going to tell you like
probably should
storytelling terms.
I think the proper term, which we got the idea, would have been franchise reboot or something.
Yeah. But again, it's like AI. It's like AI still got a long way to go for as far as like
the term soft reboot is that if you read it, you realize how dumb the term is. It's a non-existent term that should be applied nowhere because you've already covered everything. And if it's either one thing or it's another, it's not. You either rebooted or you didn't. Now, if you're saying that I changed the course, like I relooked my continuity and I decided I want to go a different direction within that continuity, that's not a reboot. Nor should that word ever be used because you are not disrupting the continuity. If you are not dramatically disrupting the continuity, then it's not a reboot. And you should do yourself a favor if you're trying to pitch something and never fucking use that word.
Okay. Well, here's actually with that phrasing too. We usually like dramatically disrupt the continuity, and like two things I would ask if not if these qualify as reboots, but do these qualify as just dramatically disrupt the continuity? Like one, when WB did what they did, post Justice League 2017, I would argue that definitely was very much disrupting the continuity significantly.
Okay, now, yes, it was disrupting continuity, but it wasn't rebooting anything.
And that wasn't when I say that, it's like that wasn't something they did consciously. It was just a lack of like knowing where they were going. And then and again, this is without being flippant.
Among other things, but yeah.
And this is not being flippant about it. It's like, and I think maybe this is kind of playing devil's advocate to what Forth is saying. Does with what Gunn is doing now, does that meet the standard of dramatically disrupting the continuity?
No, because he's not claiming that that's the continuity he's telling his story from. Your perspective does not make it a reboot because he said what he did. He did not wipe out anything. He is starting from a point that we have not seen yet. For all we know, there was nothing that caused other than normal happenstance and divergence. See, that's what I mean by realignment and disalignment. So James Gunn is basically saying is that universe that you guys are talking about, it's still there. I'm just not telling my story from that point of view, and I'm going to let you know why with these last episodes. We're going to show you and explain to you why. The fact that he is recognizing that there was a continuity there to begin with, that's not a reboot. Because we're still within that continuity. He is now explaining to you where you're seeing this story from. So no, that would not count. And Monkey Jeebus, the rest of the MCU wasn't in Netflix. Daredevil and the characters aren't the same. Yeah, but he did not restart those characters. What Karen Page went through in Netflix carries over to what Karen Page has gone through here. All the stuff that they went through, they selectively aligned that universe with the one that they're in now. That's all they did. They didn't reboot. We didn't see a whole brand new of how Daredevil got his power. We didn't see a whole new how did Daredevil meet Frank Castle. We didn't see that. That carried over, for better or for worse, to the universe that they're in now. They just aligned to themselves. That's a word that people should use a little bit more as a more appropriate word, is alignment. It's creative selective alignments. It's all that is. But I think reboot has been tossed around irresponsibly by so many people that it's the go-to word. And now when you look, especially DC, dude, the word reboot is like kryptonite to DC. Since 1986, the word reboot is like fungus to DC. They should run from that word every time it's brought up. It should clear the room like a fart. What that should do. Now this right here, Monkey Jeebus, I've been just tossing it around in my head for fun.
Well, even that. Let me go back to Aaron's real quick. Yeah, I think she did kind of start something. Well, even that though, it's like what if there is? What if it's kind of a yes and no? Like what if it's like the world that Superman and Peacemaker occupy? What if that's not a byproduct of the Flash, but others of the 100 other else worlds we're going to see are?
Could happen. It could be. It could be. I'm willing to let him explain that to me. Says the word is wrong. Yes, I did, and it is. Asked the internet. I didn't. I asked what the connotation was. I knew that was not going to be right. Not happy with the definition. It's still wrong. What all he did was Google the term, and basically they're explaining how the term is used.
And by the way, I had a robot.
Yeah,
it could tell me what it means.
Just because I can explain to you what bullshit is, doesn't make bullshit the standard. If it's a bullshit term, and soft reboot is a bullshit term, I can explain to you the dynamics and how I can even give you plenty of examples of how it's used. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it consistent. See, you guys, you're looking at me as if it's an argument between you and me. The definition collapses under its own weight. You could take me out of the equation. You either know what the word is and how it's applied, or you don't. You don't even need to talk to me about it. The definition he read literally tore itself apart from anything that would make any sense. You see what I mean? But because we toss this word around like it's a fucking frisbee with a damn retriever catching it at the other end, the word has lost its meaning. Nobody really knows how to use it anymore. Once again, Buffy is clearly not a reboot. But yet, I've seen educated people on outlets that should know better, use the term reboot. And by the way, people who are doing Buffy that want Buffy to succeed, why the fuck aren't you correcting them? You know it's not a reboot. You know what the term reboot does to growth.
Yeah, don't focus on that. Just focus on the fact no Joss. That's all we need to focus on.
That means nothing to me.
They should put that front and center. No Joss is time.
No, they shouldn't. That would be stupid. But like I said, just because a term, there's a lot of terms. You could go Google bullshit terms that are wrong, and you're going to come up with a bunch of things that people use every day. That doesn't make them right. There's no such thing as a soft reboot. There's literally, what is it, like jumbo shrimp? I mean, what is it called? I don't think it's an oxymoron necessarily, but it doesn't make any sense.
I just Googled bullshit terms that are wrong. And
exactly. Here you go.
That's the theory, hypothesis, significant. We only use I love that one. We only use 10% rubber rain. Blood is blue. Shark dive. They stop swimming. Yeah. Again, this should tell you like AI. It's like it's still kind of.
That's why I don't use it, but
yeah, well, yeah.
I use it for art. I don't use it for.
I don't even like. I haven't gotten that far with it yet, but again, it feels it's taken its first step And AI is basically kind of in kindergarten right now. Maybe is the most generous way to put it.
What's with the fixation on Snyder? I know for a fact that during the 1 hour and 14 minutes that we've been on the air, I have not brought that man's name up. Sounds like a fourth 1000 issue, not a William issue. But there you go.
And again, it's like, but again, Junkie was again speculating about this. And it's like, what if like we see like Momoa, Lobo this side, Aquaman this side. It's like I wouldn't put it past him.
I'm certain that shit's gonna happen. But.
Yeah, I would consider it a missed opportunity. In fact, if we don't, even if it's not in Peacemaker, but if it's not done at some point within his framework, like yeah,
I think Jason Momoa would get a kick out of it.
Oh, I know. You can't tell me that Momoa hasn't like thrown that idea around the office. It's like, hey, let's do like a split screen of me in both my DC roles.
Tony Chappie, I would want this. This is what upsets me about it. I understand. Like I've always said, once somebody does some shit and they become a distraction and they become the story, you must dismiss that person. But that doesn't mean, well, I don't need Neil Gaiman to continue to tell this story. He's already written the stories. This is based on the first 75 issues of Sandman. They're written. They're done. There are plenty of people familiar with this work now after 2 seasons that will be able to carry on without Neil Gaiman's input. A lot of people that show meant a lot to. I understand why you don't want to deal with Neil Gaiman anymore. Same reason why, any of these other guys that, get caught up. You wish them well and hope they, if they deserve to be exonerated, they get exonerated. But as far as your product and your thing, you need to cut ties with them. I understand that, but I don't think the show needed to end. And I thought it could have went on, but you know what? William Mandela. Okay. Mandela effect. Oh, the Mandela effect is a result of people using the internet to verify things, and then the internet is limited to what people are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's basically explaining to you how the term is used. Like I said, I don't. There are some terms I know that I probably make the comparison of soft reboot to, because it's a half-assed term. It's literally in the definition of what it is. It's like, oh, I think I'm rebooting. Oh no, I don't know what to do. No. If you're rebooting, then it is something it's recognizable in name only. If you are soft rebooting, there's another term, like I said, selective realignment. What James Gunn doing is selecting what he wants to go forward with and aligning his universe with that. That's not a reboot. That's literally what it is. So now, will the talk of Marvel rebooting the Secret Wars isn't big? Not really, because if you see how they're doing it. So once again, and I need to have a scroll with the word alignment under it so I can just keep pointing to it. The original Secret War, the Secret Wars that this is basically, a lot of this is based on, mostly is the 2015 version, where they consolidated the universes and the timelines. Okay. They didn't restart everything. They took all the elements that they wanted to go forward with and they made a sacred timeline. Reboot would be a lazy term for that because it's a lot more complicated than that. It's kind of like Crisis gave reboots a bad name, and Crisis technically really isn't a reboot because fucking Batman's continuity, no matter what reboot happens, stays the same. So what Marvel is doing is they're basically I don't even know if retelling, because there are going to be certain things that come over from this universe that are going to stay. Like the Fantastic Four, if it's a reboot, then I'm not going to see the Fantastic Four in this new universe. I know they're all over it. You know, any X-Men, if you see any X-Men that are coming from, that are going to be in this old universe that cross over, then that's not a reboot. They're aligning up things. They're doing basically what they did in 2015. They're just consolidation is what they're doing, because not everything is going to get restarted in the MCU. Because Tom Holland's last 3 movies are going to be during or after this consolidation. So if we're doing a reboot, then I'm getting a new Spider-Man. You see what I mean? How that works? That's why the term reboot they need to dig a 6-foot hole in it deeper, 10,000-foot hole. They need to drop the word reboot in it, and they need to fucking bury it for the rest of existence, because it's like putty that just doesn't stick anymore. You know what I mean? No, I did not see the video sent. Did you? You sent it to? I don't have it. Did you get anything in your Instagram?
Yep.
You sent it to the right one, the Sci-Fi Center. If you Google it, I'm there. When did you send it, Iggy? Because I have mine up right now, and I don't have you. Go to sci-fi-center.com and click on the Instagram, or here. Let me send it to you, because I have not gotten it, so I'm not ignoring you. I just haven't got it. No guarantee I can play it, but let's see. Hold on. New messages. See. Yeah. All right. So let's go. All right. I'm putting the Instagram in there so you can send me a message there. Bad. If I don't even know if Bad has it or Instagram.
I have Instagram.
Okay.
I just don't use it as much as I used to. As I should say. I'm trying to do that more.
Oh, the haters ball. Boy, I love that. I love, oh man, Dave Chappelle. Man, the haters ball where Ice-T was there, and Silky, of course, Silky wins. Yeah, the haters ball, everything Dave Chappelle did in that era. I hate you and I wish you will. Now I got to get home to put water in Buck Nasty's mama's dish. He said something to that effect, man. And with the Rain Brady thing, he's like, Rain Brady takes him for a ride. Like, he starts shooting at him. But the Rick James stuff that Dave Chappelle did was hilarious. And then the Klan, Clayton Bigsby, the Klan, when he's the Black Klansman, he's blind. It's just he was going through a time where he just did not care about what anybody, the censor said, and he was on the Comedy Network, and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I interviewed a guy. I interviewed a guy who's worked on the Chappelle Show. He was a while back. It was like 10 years ago. I need to look it up, like who his name was and like what exactly he did. He was like Chappelle's. He was a stunt guy or some kind of like role like that on the Chappelle Show. But yeah, it was good. I didn't follow the Chappelle Show avidly, but I did check it out here and there.
Can't believe we're referring to Fly as somebody that's an actual entity. I'll find out who you are, Fly. But I'm in the Nine Inch Nails. That's probably the only reason why I'm going to go to see Tron. I have no use for the movie Tron itself. I like Jared Leto though, so I might be. I'm going to be surrounded by Nine Inch Nails sound, Dolby.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been like super crazy about Tron. I saw the 2010 one before I saw the original, and even that's like Tron's
is it 2010?
Yeah. Well,
that one that came out. Wow, the fuck!
Yeah,
oh, it's 15 years
so
ago.
they have like these huge gaps between each Tron movie. Because the first one was
it's like they're 28 years between.
And then 15. I mean, they cut it down for going to the third one.
And all the people are still alive, which is you don't get that lucky all the time. All right.
I remember like coming out of the Tron, the second Tron, and thinking all I could think about that was like initial view. All I could think was like I feel like I just watched like a sci-fi version of like a Billy Idol music video, because that's really the I mean that's there's a lot of like Billy Idol in that.
I would have to sell some blood plasma, Larry, because the Spirit is not cheap. It is not cheap. I want to, but Spirit is not cheap. I know for you too. Damn, you too. You had to literally give some bone marrow away. Get into that shit. But I would definitely try. I got a chance to see Nine Inch Nails here with Clint, and back in 1995, we're in the same concert.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how long you know Clint?
No, we did not know each other at the time, but when we
Okay.
talk, I've known Clint since the early 2000s. Maybe not too far off, because that concert was in 1995. And I think I met Clint in 2001, 2002, and what is it? We're in
You guys,
2005.
you guys were both at that concert. You just didn't know it at the time.
You just didn't know it at the time.
Okay.
We met each other through Rocky Horror.
You know, I kind of have a little bit of that similar thing. It was Chris Wong Swenson, because he's lived in Hawaii his whole life, and I lived in in Schofield for like 3 years, from like 93 to 96. My mom, my memory is always like, I always remember we went there in like early 93. She thinks it was late 92, but whatever. It's like we were there for about 3 years, and
there's records of that shit that you could nail it down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
if you ever wanted to win a bet, you could probably be like,
yeah. I remember it very. I'm sorry. It's like I'm really adamant. It was like we went in like January or right around my birthday in 93. But
and
anyway.
I'm pretty sure there's an organization that keeps records.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, my dad,
U.S. Army.
My dad only got a promotion on the USS Arizona Memorial while we were there. But yeah, Chris Wong Swenson. It's because we were both along for the ride in the Snyder Cut journey.
Well, that's how I found him.
So. Yeah, and he's lived his wife his whole life, and I remember thinking like, damn, dude, it's like you were probably like because I think he's in Honolulu, and I'm thinking like, man, it's like you were probably like 20 minutes away from me the whole time.
Yeah, I miss Chris Rock. He used to do it. That's one of the reasons why I had that Saturday night show, is because of I would watch his show at Saturday nights when I would get home from the store. He was 5 hours ahead of us, so him going on at like 7 or 8 o'clock was perfect for me. And
him, Film Junkie, and the Squadcast guys, they were kind of my main sort of.
See, Squadcast was last for me because I met Squadcast through Enosh.
Yeah, well, and they would because what they were always kind of like the weekend, kind of like what we're doing now, what we're going to do, like once we transition fully to Sunday night on the what we're doing the Saturday night show, but they kind of be like the weekend sort of wrap up, like here's all the DC news that unfolded throughout the week, and so and that always made it so much fun during that time because it's like whatever like image or tease we got or new developments like it's like okay, like we're reliving that week now.
Oh, there's a flag. There's a jail flag. Everybody, let's go 6-7 hours in that shit. But
Chris, I know he and Film Junkie they crossed paths and hooked up pretty early on that whole thing, and that was I think before he'd even like kind of Film Junkie probably kind of solidified the Vodka stream being what it is now.
Because I remember watching the Vodka stream back when all this first started. Like I said, when I was on the show the other night, I was talking to him. I realized that I've been watching or associated with Film Junkies for 8 years now because we found because we found each other after November of 2017.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then I started watching his show, and then Enosh was on his show. And then I'm like, okay, that's a weird name.
Well, because we were all like, when we saw what we saw, so everybody was like just Googling like, what the hell happened with Justice League? And so we and that's how we found like YouTubers who were talking about it. Or
because that's where I went. I went like, hey, is it? Because it was weird. It was awkward for me because I was promoting the movie and I was promoting it even afterwards, and I was trying to keep up a happy face to be like, okay. It didn't really fully absorb me until I got on the internet a few days later, and I knew we were missing something because we had been watching all these trailers and stuff.
It had so much footage, it wasn't,
and then it wasn't there, and then the movie just seemed like sort of generic. And then I said, I Googled, is there a different version of this? Or because whenever I see a movie that I see that's been horribly edited and cut up and whipped up, I always go and say, hey, is there a different cut of this? Is
there a Blade Runner basically?
Yeah, and then that's how I found Swenson and Junkie basically on the same day, and it was on a Friday, and I remember, and then he had there was I think Colbert was on there.
I was fun because he was covering on Screen Rant, and that was about that first year. I mean, I was following on his writing for it, and then when I started Screen Rant, because he reached out to me and said, hey, had you ever considered applying? Because he'd seen what we'd been acquainted through social media, but he also got realized what I was doing with KFK. It's like, okay, he's Brad's already got kind of a feel for what this would be, and so that and that one thing led to another, and that's began my journey with Screen Rant, and that's really where like my career in entertainment journalism is like. I was already doing it for several years with the KFK, but that's really where it kind of like blossomed into like, okay, this is like my job now. As far as like having like multiple irons in the fire, and I was it just became like my thing. And I came into that as far as like writing with Screen Rant. I came into that was like at the tail end of all of that. It was July of 2019, so it was like right when it was like starting to heat up in the mainstream. So I came in at the perfect time to like start.
Yeah,
like,
I never meant to become a YouTuber. I never meant to become a YouTuber. I was content with listening. I was content with dropping in questions, being in the chat, dropping in questions. But it got to the point to where you have more to say that can be contained into a chat or in a video question. And it was apparent, and then that's where Enosh said, why don't you come on to the show? And I said I was on that show, and we would have streams that would like literally last overnight long and this till the sun came up. So.
And I was watching that pretty avidly when I stumbled across you guys. And by the way, Enosh, if you get the Flash scene in Crisis, there are some great reaction videos out there. He has one of the best ones I've seen of Ezra meeting Grant on Crisis. Did you ever see that with his reaction of the Ezra and Grant scene for Crisis?
I know I probably have. It's been a long time.
What I was wondering, like, would we be allowed to play it here? If we can't play it, I'll just put it in the chat for you guys. But that, he's not YouTubing as much as he used to. Yeah, he got dismayed a little bit, like towards the end, like right before the cut came out, and then he got kind of dismayed because it just wasn't. It wasn't. We went from celebrating this thing to just things going haywire. And like I said, that's why a lot of us remember that fondly, that time from 2017 to May 20th, 2021, actually to March 18th. Once March 18th, 2021 hit, it's when, people started splitting up and started looking into looking for different routes to achieve things that I don't always agree with one way or another. And well, then you had the Sarnoff interview come out 4 days later too.
Yeah, that didn't help their cause. But as far as like us as fans, how we treated each other, we were all in the trenches together, and then all of a sudden we weren't. And we weren't to a degree to where it's like, oh, okay. So I'm just happy we had that. And am I going to check out Black Phone 2? I wasn't the biggest fan of Black Phone 1, but I will be promoting Black Phone 2. I still got t-shirts from Black Phone 1 at the store. Let's see. Every cell.
Yeah, Ezra cameo. Yeah, that nobody, and William is like he said it before. It's like you were not enamored with what they were doing on Crisis, but like that one moment you were like, okay, they did something that the CW does something that impresses William, they did something impressive.
Yeah, and even though it at that point meant nothing, it can still mean something. But like I said, I wish the CW were coming about today or something like that with money and
what are
structure.
They even doing now? It's like they're
about to dissolve.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, again, Superman and Lois ended just the right time.
Yeah, but you waited to the end of your existence to spend money on your show or to have a character that people cared about on your universe. I mean, you waited to the end to do that, and that's, to me, that's CW in a nutshell.
Because I think they're mostly moving to like sports programming and showing like probably like Married with Children and like Coach and stuff.
Live stuff too, because there's money in live.
There's probably a lot of syndicated stuff there, but it's probably not going to be like there. I think they're, especially with like streaming being what it is now, and the streaming life
where the ad revenue comes.
Yeah, with the streaming life that the Arrowverse and Smallville and Superman and Lois have now, it's like those are. I think they're kind of like, as far as like any continued revenue they're getting from that, it's like they're kind of happy to like take that from like either home media or from streaming, but it's like they're not really syndicating their DC shows like on CW anymore.
All right. Apparently he showed up for nothing back when I was. All right. I think I've covered a lot of nothing today.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry. But once again, guys, this term reboot, it's like a boomerang.
Well, maybe
bounces off of people's heads.
Can you retroactively title like any? Because I was thinking, about like 20 minutes into like the reboot talk, I thought this could have been like the topic of the night, like what is and isn't a reboot on the Sci-Fi Center.
Yeah, you could retroactively. I mean, I would like to have a more focused discussion if we were going to do that, but I have charts and shit. I'm like, literally, when someone's definition of something destroys what they're trying to define, that thing is not a thing. Would you split 100 with AFSP for a good film watch? Yeah. That's kind of what I did with this last one. What we're doing with Wicked and Mystery Men, half of that went to upkeep of the channel, and the other half went to AFSP. So yes, I would. For a good film watch, yeah. Throw a good one at me, Larry. Are you unless you want me to pick it? Here, hold on. Before you do anything like that, let's put the link up here because let's see. Hold on, let me get this done right. But yeah, we could probably do a topic, and I'm pretty sure I'll have all kinds of hate in the chat. But like I said, it's not me you're arguing with. Listen to the term that's being defined. If you listen to the term, the word partial literally indicates something else. It indicates something else. Because it's like I said, just think of anything that you would not do partially that has to be done entirely, and that's literally where you are losing the term. But I understand why it's used because of the fact we just throw these terms around. Like I said, there's a lot of words out there that we use and we throw them about, and they don't mean anything, or they don't mean what people think they mean. Like I said, perfect example is I was just Rich Eladia, Aaron Slipknot fan, Hunterberg for bringing her back. Okay, well, there you go. There's the thing. If you want, I don't mind. I haven't seen Bring Her Back. I've heard a lot about it. We can do a watch. We can do. In fact, that's like a Friday night one. We could do our scary movie shit. We need to start doing our scary movie shit later on in the night. There's your link, Larry. What was I saying? When it comes to reboot and things like that, it's just like I said, we just used the word and it doesn't mean anything anymore. And when it comes to DC, they've done the act to where their continuity doesn't mean. A good portion of DC's sales where they've hurt themselves is they've cut out their foundations. They've made it to where it's like, well, shit, where do I go now? And how do I know you're not going to do this again? I'm going to spend 5, 6, 7 years buying your whatever, and then you're going to come in with somebody else who's got a hair up their ass to do something new and broad, and then you're going to basically blow away all the stuff I've been into. People don't want to have their time wasted, and that's why with Scott Snyder, I hate to keep bringing that up. What Scott Snyder has done with Absolute DC, I hope James Gunn is looking at that when he's deciding how he's going to handle his Elseworlds. You can blow something up. You can start something new, but you don't have to destroy everything else around you. You don't have to. You can keep it all. You can tell one story at a time. You can tell a bunch of stories at a time. And like I said, I just hope that everybody is watching understands that, because I think James Gunn has a unique opportunity to pay homage to everything that has come before and certain degrees and still continue on with something that's entirely his. So I hope okay. So Larry, when do you guys want to do this? We got to do. Oh shit! We're probably gonna have to do. We got to do Wicked and Mystery Man. Probably going to be on the Saturday, which is tough. But I'm going to be going to Toxic Avenger on Friday. So Bring Her Back. Do you guys want to do Bring Her Back? Oh, we can't. Well, Monday. Yeah, we can't do Monday because we're not doing Alien Earth until the next day. So let's do Bring Her Back on a late Monday night. How about that, guys? Does that sound good? Brad has to watch it too. I don't think Brad has a problem with those type of movies. Brad has a problem with scary movies.
Yeah, I have a problem with scary because they're bad.
Even though we're watching Mystery Man, which is
funny
and horrible,
is hilarious and is a comedy classic and sets up the Blue Raja for a spin-off movie they never got. Blue Raja at your service. I suppose I'll forgive you if you forget.
Fuck is
That's
wrong
it.
with you? It's so stupid. It doesn't get any better. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, but yeah, I hate to be a whore, but you're gonna make me watch Galaxy Quest, which I fundamentally do not like for reasons that has really nothing much to do with.
But you'll tolerate Scary Movie. Oh, see the reversal here, huh?
No, I'll do it for the same compensation that we did for that.
Just think about that. You sold out for Scary Movie, but you won't do what is
no.
actual Star Trek poll.
It's not a Star Trek.
Seventh best Star Trek movie.
A Star Trek poll set up by old Trek fan who basically single-handedly tried to suffocate the life out of Trek. Yeah, we're gonna go with that poll. No, I'll sell out for Galaxy Quest. I'm never gonna call it Star Trek, but yeah. Yeah, we could do a Galaxy Quest, but we got to, like I said, I can
point out. It's like, okay, he's Nimoy and he's Shatner, and this is corresponds. Yeah.
No, it doesn't really.
Yes.
Same thing with the Orville. I mean, Orville is the Orville. It's not Star Trek. I'm gonna let you guys get on a secret. I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. Hold on. Let me go full screen here because this is important. Only Star Trek is Star Trek. I don't care how much you love that other thing. I don't care if you have a blow-up doll of each and every fucking character in the cast. Only Star Trek is Star Trek. Only Star Wars is Star Wars. See what I mean? See how this works? Everything else, you can call whatever you want. It's not Star Trek. All right. Oh, this would be some cash. You're going to have to make it rain. I will whore myself out, but if I'm going to suffer through movies that I fundamentally just make my eyes hurt, yeah, we're going to have to. The PayPal link is in there. Here we go. You guys want to go crazy? Here we go. There you go. Because you guys are bringing up some tawdry shit that, like I said, I would pay to get away from. I damn sure you watch it for free. I like how people call Alien Earth the Andor of the series. Well, I mean, I could see that in the fact that it's a series. It's the first series. It's a series. Andor was something else though. Andor was great. And a lot of people, I don't know what the Andor's viewing numbers are. I hope they reflect its quality. Did you watch Andor?
Yeah.
Whoever wrote the dialogue,
wasn't there
for that show?
Their ceiling for Star Wars on Disney Plus is still season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian.
Okay. I like Mandalorian. Don't get me wrong. Andor is on a superior, in my opinion. This is all subjective. In my opinion, from front to back, top to bottom, a different class of Star Wars television series. The dialogue alone separates it from Mandalorian. Luthen Rail, every time Luthen Rail, Skarsgård talked, it was like something that you knew it was going to stick. That what have I sacrificed speech was like, I could listen to that on a weekly basis. Everybody's different. I like the Mandalorian. Last season, Book of Boba Fett, which is basically a de facto season of Mandalorian. I love Mandalorian, even though I'm tired of being in this universe. Even I'm not universe. I'm tired of being in this. I'm ready for something new. But if I am here, Andor is a Mandalorian and some of the other stuff that they've done. Mandalorians at here at this atmosphere, this stratosphere. From where I'm at in Mandalorian, I can't see Andor. That's how much better a show Andor is. But it all depends on what you like too, because if you're not into political intrigue, then Andor is not going to be for you no matter how good it is. Andor was more than just Star Wars. Andor was spy. Andor was thriller. Andor was strategy. And like I said, when these people talk, the writers' room, whoever, all those writers, I hope got promoted to bigger things, because if you can figure, I thought Andor was brilliant. Now, Alien Earth, I think is a fun show. It's a gross show. I don't know if it stands out amongst the Alien franchise like Andor does with Star Wars, but it's really good. It's really good, and it's as creepy as anything that I've ever seen with aliens. It's consistency nasty. I feel more Prometheus with this fucking gross ass show than I do with any other part of Alien, because there was some shit in Prometheus that I'm like, and there's shit in Alien Earth that's like, and fucking kill that sheep, kill that eye thing. Just I don't want to see that thing anymore. But yeah, I am very intrigued where we're going with Alien Earth. I really love the show. When is the sequel coming out? Isn't that isn't that this month or next month? Oh shit, that shit.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you offhand.
Star Wars for adults are some really smart kids, I guess, because Andor was really good. And that the last 3 episodes of Andor are some of the best TV I've seen in my life. How that ends, how it just all the lives that you see the Empire ruin. Even though I'm ready to move on from this backyard, if this is the last thing I see from that this proximity, it's some of the best shit I ever saw. It augments everything about Star Wars and the Empire. Because the Empire, to be honest with you, yeah, we know they're evil because somebody told us they were evil. And we saw them do some shit in a limited amount of movies. You get to see the true callousness and evil in Andor. I mean, Denise Goff's character, her character, and then what's his face from why can't I? It's late. Ben Mendelsohn's character, the director. You knew he was a piece of shit from Rogue One, but he really piles up to the stack of shit that he is in this show. And you see the infrastructure of the Empire differently than you said before. But yeah, I love that show. Alien Earth is doing well with the fans as well as the new Dexter. The new Dexter's really good. Man, you guys got 2 episodes. Please don't fuck this up. Please don't fuck this up. You are almost to the edge of making me forgive New Blood. You are almost there. We're almost there. You got 2 episodes, and it's been really, really, really good. I have my reservations, like I told you guys before. I'm gonna watch this show, but I'm like, if I'm in the back seat and I feel the car turning off into the woods where there's no lights, and I'm gonna end up in the trunk, I will leave. So far, knock on wood. So far, so good. Alien Earth. Yeah, Alien Earth is great. We're halfway through. Damn. You have to force yourself to watch Star Wars one day? Oh, wow. How old are you, son? I'm curious. All right, 12-watt stack. All right, I know that this is under several different names, so I'm just going to leave that there. And I'm pretty sure it'll be in my comments too, under another different name. Yes, it is. Oh, okay. You haven't seen any of Dexter? All right, so that's a tough one. The 8 seasons of Dexter, seasons 1, seasons 2, season 4 are the best of the entire run. Dexter New Blood was good for about 7 episodes, and everybody went stupid. Dexter Original Sin, I didn't have any use for it. Dexter Resurrection is really good, but if you haven't watched any of them, I would go ahead and get through the original series first. New Blood is it's a horrible ending. However, in order to fully enjoy Dexter Resurrection, you do need New Blood. You do need Dexter New Blood. Oh yeah, yeah. Venom's. Yeah, that would be a cool ass fight. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Tomorrow night is Peacemaker, so I don't even have to plan for that. So we'll be doing Peacemaker. Was that episode 2?
Yep.
I don't know what to. I can't promise you that there's not going to be an origin or something in there, but
That's God. That's man. The conversation around that.
It's the sad thing about it is like I said, the orgy for what the point he was trying to make works. It works perfectly.
I would say, dude, at least close the blinds.
He doesn't care. That's Chris Smith. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. And that's in the comments is up there looking. He's like, oh my god. But I'm looking forward to episode 2. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with episode. I'm looking forward to seeing how this wraps up. What kind of questions we have. You know, if we're gonna answer anything, or you know, I'm just kind of curious at this point. So, all right, yeah, the finger at the top of the head. Yeah, he treated her like shit, and she gave her life to the Empire. She treated people like shit in the name of the Empire, and the Empire just discarded her, like the Empire just discards everybody when they don't need them. So yeah, Dedra Mira. I don't know why I can't remember her name. She's brilliant in the role. Denise Goff is brilliant in that role, and Elizabeth Dulau, who plays his assistant. Yeah, why can't I think of anybody's name tonight? Jesus Christ! But you know, she is the one who breaks into the. Well, I won't spoil it too. Any chance we see alien species that's even deadlier than the xenomorph? I think all of these motherfuckers are. I don't need to see the eye. Did you want the eye thing running around the planet? I don't. They're making Peacemaker into Metallo and Absolute Batman. Oh yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit in Absolute Batman. Absolute Superman. I'm sorry. I would not doubt that, and that is going to cause some problems. I think if there's a chance that they consolidate these universes or merge some of those universes, I think Rick Flag might be somebody who walks away alive. You know, but who knows? Listen to this guy. 12. You're getting original with the names, by the way. Let's see. There you go. Done with that guy. I gave you time under your different names to add something to the conversation, and you didn't. So we're done. All right, guys. On that note, either Rick Flag or if they consolidate the universe, it's going to be Rick Flag himself, Rick Flag Jr. All right. Tomorrow's Peacemaker. Tomorrow's Peacemaker, and who knows? I can't. Like I said, come into that show at your own risk. And we will see you tomorrow night, 11:30. Bye, guys.
All right. See you guys.